So you're at your place of work, be it private industry or government, and you've come across some kind of a problem, right? I mean, we're there to solve problems. That's how we move the company. That's how we move the organization forward. Now, the question that I want you to ponder is, given the history of industry, the history of technology, the history of cybersecurity over the years, what are the chances of this problem that you've just come across? What are the chances of that problem being absolutely unique? What are the chances that this problem has never occurred anywhere before? Well, the chances of that are about zero. Chances are the problem that you've encountered has been encountered before by perhaps many businesses, many organizations, and just maybe this problem has been resolved before. Well, it turns out that you may not have to think from scratch about how to resolve this problem. Chances are there's some sort of a framework that you can reference to help your organization resolve this and many other problems. This is what the reading encompasses in Mod 1. And in this video, we're going to talk about frameworks. And specifically, we're going to talk about the NIST framework for managing cybersecurity risk. Hi, my name is Charlie Kirkpatrick, and in this short video, we're going to cover the fundamentals of the NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology framework for addressing cybersecurity issues. Now, when you hear the term framework, a framework is a generic term for solving common problems. Specifically, it's a set of standards, guidelines, best practices for managing, in this case, cybersecurity-related risk. Now, there are frameworks and best practices, standards, and guidelines for addressing any number of business issues. But in this case, we're talking specifically about cybersecurity issues. Now, with the NIST framework, it consists of 5 sections that I want you to understand. And by the way, this video does not replace reading the document. The document itself is 20 or 30 pages long. We're covering it at a pretty high level here, so you will need to read the document to understand some of the details behind each of these core activities. But the first activity is identifying risks, is understanding what unique risks or general risks there are for your particular company or organization, given the industry that you're in. Then once you've identified and understood your risks, developing safeguards to ensure the delivery of the products or services that you're in business to create, sell, or deliver. Next is developing ways to understand when you have an attack underway, a way to identify cybersecurity threats to your organization. And then once you've discovered threats, the next step is the respond step. And this is really important because it helps you manage it gives you tools and techniques for managing the PR side of your cybersecurity related issues. That is, at what point should you contact the media, and who should contact the media, and what steps, internal and external, need to take place to ensure business continuity. Think business partners, think customers, think regulatory concerns, things of that nature. In other words, when you discover a problem, how do you handle that problem? The last aspect, the last activity of the NIST framework is recover. That is, once you've discovered an issue and you've resolved that issue, how do you get your business back online? What are the steps that you need to go through to recover your business and be able to produce your products, produce your services, address customer concerns, things of that nature? These are the activities around being able to recover from a cybersecurity threat. Now, in the framework, it discusses 4 tiers of maturity. And think, when you hear the term maturity, think uh, your businesses or your organization's uh, ability to, in this case, respond to and manage cybersecurity related risks. At the bottom of this pyramid is partial maturity. And quite honestly, I'm not sure why they call it partial maturity, because to me, this is really no maturity. It's where you have very little, if any, framework in place for addressing cybersecurity related risks. Everything is sort of ad hoc, fly by the seat of your pants processes where you are reacting to what you think are cybersecurity issues, as opposed to being proactively in front of those issues. Next on the tier is risk informed. At this point, your organization is aware that there are risks out there, but you don't have any formal policies, procedures, tools, techniques, no organizational wide approach for addressing cybersecurity related issues. Next up the pyramid is repeatable. This is where you do have policies. You do have a general approach for handling cybersecurity related issues. You're educating your employees, you're communicating with your business partners, your customers, even in some cases. But you have processes in place and you can repeat those processes. At the top of the pyramid, and I got to tell you, there's probably not a whole lot of companies, given the overall scheme of companies in our country, that are at the adaptive level. This is where you have continuous monitoring in place. You are continuously adjusting your threat profile, your protection profiles as you find additional risks. Your executive team is actively engaged, and you actually have a budget that you've dedicated to cybersecurity related issues. So those are the 4 tiers of framework maturity discussed in your NIST document. Also in your document, it talks about information and decision flows. And I wanted to include this because at the end of the day, nothing happens without operational support, that is, support at the bottom of the organization, and also nothing happens without executive level support. And to make a sound cybersecurity program, to implement a sound cybersecurity program, number one, all aspects of the organization have to participate in it. And it helps to understand the different roles and responsibilities of different layers of management. For example, at the executive level, the executives have to buy in on the need for a cybersecurity cybersecurity program. They are going to be the ones that set the budget, that set the priorities for the organization, and determine the amount of focus that's going to be on a particular aspect of the business, in this case, cybersecurity. Business processes, you have to have processes in place, repeatable processes in place for managing critical infrastructure, managing risk, and understanding the various aspects of this, in this case, NIST profile. And then at the operational level, these are the folks that are actually responsible for implementing cybersecurity programs. These are the folks that are on the machines, they're talking to the customers, they're in the operational parts of your business. So you have information, and I won't go through all of this, that flows down through the organization to the operational level from the executive level. And then you have information that flows back up from the operational level, think events, things of that nature, that are then presented to the executive level in some kind of an executive format. Keep in mind, an executive in most organizations, is a really, really busy person. So there are tools and techniques for making sure that business executives are focusing on the actions that they need to focus on. In the case of cybersecurity, they need to understand at a high level, and quite often this is color-coded, Green is good. Yellow, I need to be thinking about it. Red is, hey, there's something going on here and I need to understand this. A good cybersecurity program has the feature of presenting information at the executive level at a level that they can understand and be able to take quick and decisive action on it. The last thing with the NIST framework that I want you to understand is the importance of understanding a baseline versus your target state. And this is really simply going through an exercise to understand where your organization is with regards to the 5 aspects, the 5 activities related to the NIST framework: identify, protect, detect, respond, and recover. So step 1 is to step back and take a honest, unbiased baseline of where your organization is today. Next, based on your organization, based on the industry that you're in, the customer base that you have, the products that you supply, understanding where you need to be in terms of these 5 different activities. Now, it's easy to say, well, we need to be a 10 out of 10 on each of these. Well, that's a good thought, but might be really, really hard to get to. This target state involves, again, honest, unbiased discussions as to where we want to focus our activities based on our business profile. And in this example here, detect and respond, we want that to be a 10 out of 10. But being able to identify issues, we want that. We don't want to ignore it, of course, but we think we just want that to be an 8 at this point. But this gives you a tool for addressing all of the myriad of concerns that your organization might face and be able to prioritize the work related to a cybersecurity program. So, key takeaways for the NIST framework. Most businesses got a lot of problems. Understand that there are frameworks out there that give you a head start in being able to resolve those problems. You can take those frameworks and you can modify them to your needs. In this case, the NIST framework is a set of best practices for managing cybersecurity related risk. Companies need to assess their capabilities against this maturity model and understand where they are on that pyramid that we discussed earlier. And then understand the flow of information both up and down the food chain in any business, in any organization. Direction needs to come from the top. If your executives are not involved, your cybersecurity program is going to be fledgling at best. When the executives are engaged, the rest of the company will follow suit. It's just a cardinal rule in any kind of business management. So you keep these 4 things in mind, and you're going to be off to a pretty good start in terms of a cybersecurity program at your organization.